I'm very honored to have with me today a longtime supporter of United Way and just a great all-around guy. He's the police chief of the town of Framingham, Ken Ferguson. Ken, welcome to the TeleTextAthon. We're happy to have you here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Ken has been involved in almost every single nonprofit that I can think of in the community over the years. In his role as deputy chief for many years, he was assigned to that kind of duty, and he was a great representative of the town of Framingham for years. And now we're also thrilled that he's now the chief, and he's just a great guy, and we're glad to have him on board here tonight. Ken, why is it important for the town of Framingham to support charities like United Way, and especially our Feed a Family program at the Pearl Street Cupboard and Cafe in Framingham?
Well, I think it's important because, you know, you guys have been able to identify a gap. And when the gap, it turns out to be a basic need like food, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is desperation, you know. Right. If you're not able, as in a family, to fulfill a basic need like feeding your family, you're going to become desperate, and desperate people do desperate things. So I think it's great that your organization and partners have been able to identify this gap and alleviate some of the desperation.
You know, it's kind of a funny thing. When you were with us on the board when we opened the Pearl Street Cupboard and Cafe, yes. And even though we thought for many, you know, we knew there was a gap and we knew there was a need, but when you drive through town, you'd never think that there were 4,000 families that we could means test and have registered in our computer system from Framingham who really were eligible for assistance. That was more than a gap. It was like a canyon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You remember how it was when we started thinking about this? Right. Do you feel surprised that there were so many?
Absolutely. You know, what I've learned is, you know, we're talking about people that are unemployed and underemployed. Right. And just, you know, when the economic downturn started in 2008, and we're still trying to recover from that, you know, people still aren't making what they made before that. And food, you know, has become a challenge for them. And like you say, it could happen to any one of us. It's a desperate, it's an unfortunate situation. And it's great that you guys have been able to identify. I mean, it's more than a gap. I don't know what word verbiage to use, but and to provide these services.
I asked you about why it was important for the town to be involved. Why is it important for Ken Ferguson personally? I know it makes you tick, but tell everybody else at home why you do what you do, because I know why you do it, but why don't you tell everybody why you do it?
Well, because a lot of times throughout my career, you know, professionally, you know, a lot of times the things that we deal with as a police department are the symptoms of bigger issues. So, you know, 30 years on the police department, almost 10 years as a deputy chief, and now 2 years as a chief, you know, I see these symptoms of larger issues, and I just love to be part of these groups, these key stakeholders that want to try to address these, you know, the larger issues so that we don't have to deal with these symptoms.
Would you, knowing what you know, would you encourage your friends and colleagues and neighbors in the community to support what we're trying to do here?
Absolutely, I do. We send the message out throughout the department and throughout the community. We have a Facebook page, and we fully support this for all the obvious reasons.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Tell me, one last thing. If you had the ability to hope or wish for the people who come and use our facilities and get the help at the Pearl Street Cupboard and Cafe, if there was one wish or hope that you had for the coming year for them, what would that be?
Well, I think it's like others have said, you know, we like to get rid of hunger, you know, but I don't think that's realistic. Yeah. I think what's realistic is my wish is that we're still able, through support of the community and other groups, that we're able to provide these services and you know, not only the services of hunger, but other services so that, you know, we can get people out of these desperate situations.
Well, Ken, we really appreciate what you do every day.
Thank you.
All of us at United Way know how dedicated you are to the community, and I personally want to thank you for all your support, and thanks for being with us here tonight.